Welcome back. Let's move on to the next corporate conversation. Anupam Rasayan is on our radar on the back of its second quarter numbers. The company has reported a flat top-line growth at 392 crore. EBITDA margins or operating margins have declined marginally, 90 basis points to 27.3%, and the profits too are just up close to about 2%. Vishal Thakkar, Deputy CFO of the company, is with us on the show. Vishal, morning. This is Rima here. First, your performance is flat on a year-on-year basis, but many of your peers have reported a decline. Can you talk about the demand environment and the visibility for the second half of the year? Can we see a pickup in growth?
Hi, Rima. Good morning, and thank you for having us on your channel. Yeah, yes, the numbers have been, we did 320 in the standalone and 390 in the 394 in the console side. Yes, the margins have been good. So I would say that we are satisfied, especially as you rightly said, in terms of the environment that we are seeing. I think we are satisfied in terms of our performance, in terms of revenue and margins. Going further in terms of our demand expectation, as we had mentioned even in the last quarter's mention, that the lot of demand growth has been pushed to the quarter H2. And so we will see that in the next 2 quarters, you will see a bit of an a significant uptake in terms of revenue growth. So that's one that we'll be seeing. And if you look at it from a long-term perspective, the revenue growth momentum continues and remains intact. Especially if you see the kind of LOIs and contracts that we have signed, even in this half of the year, we feel that demand and demand growth should continue. Yes, there is a bit of a hiatus in the last 6 months. But we feel that going forward, it looks far more promising.
So, demand has already started picking up, or in the month of October, for instance, what was that number? And how much better can H2 be versus same time last year or versus H1?
So I can say that what we have historically also mentioned in terms of our revenue growth, the annual growth we would be looking at around about 20 plus or minus few percentage points on the revenue growth side. I don't want to get to the specific numbers because I would prefer not to be on the guidance side. But we would see a decent growth on an annual basis. So if you back calculate, you can understand the kind of revenue growth that we will see in the quarter 3 and quarter 4.
Okay, you don't want to give us numbers for now, but you are saying it will be better than H1. Vishal, let me ask you about the margins. They've broadly been in the 26 to 28 kind of range, right? Do you expect this kind of range to hold? Do you expect it to get better than this as well?
So see, if you see when I talked about the fluorination and also talked about the pharma and fluorination especially, and that theme is now playing out. And as you see over the period of time, you will see that the contribution going up. And when you come with the new age molecules, new quality molecules, there is always a possibility of a little bit of a uptake in terms of margins. But the kind of business that we are in, which is a CDMO business or more CSM business, where we will have a transparent cost sheets, typically you would always guide to be in the 26 to 28% margin. If you do better, always it's great. But I would continue to guide it to 26 to 28 rather than trying to be more bullish on the guidance side. Hopefully, we should do better like what we have done for the last 4 quarters, but be conservative there.
What were the product launches in Q2? In Q1, I think it was 2 new molecules. For Q2, what's the number? And for the full year, you had given a guidance of 10.
Yeah, so if you look at the first half, we have done around 5 products launches that we have done.
Okay.
And for the next half, we should be at least doing the next another 5 as well. So that is practically on track, a little better than what we were planning out. So I think there we are good to say.
Okay, before we get back to the numbers, just quickly, you had made a warrant issue. There was also a QIP that you raised, I think warrants to the tune of around 370 crores. What is this extra money? How is it being deployed? What was the need for this extra funds right now?
So if you see, this is basically the promoter, especially the founding promoter, Anand Desai, is participating in this program. And the original thought was and is that he increases his shareholding in the company. And that's where it started from. And then there are a couple of other investors who have joined along. And what we'll use this money is to repay the debt. and that way, we will not have an impact on the ROC. And in fact, if you look at it, it will only improve the EPS little further from where it should be. So it will be EPS accretive for us, and largely we'll just repay out the debt, especially the debt which we have taken during the 10-5 period is what we'll pay off.
Do you want to be long-term debt-free? Because what's the number right now of your long-term debt? And when will you be able to bring it down? And also the working capital number for Q2.
So long-term debt, we are around about roughly around 400 and something. And that, if you see, we will be able to pay it off largely from this proceeds. So practically we'll go long-term debt-free by that time period. Is what I'm suggesting. Yes, on the working capital side, there was a bit of a stretch there in this quarter, and which we believe that in next 2 quarters we should be able to get it back. Especially if you look at from the debtors perspective, the collections have been quite robust in this quarter as well. In the first 15 days, 35 days of the quarter, we have been able to see quite a bit of collections.
Working capital number
it's a
for
matter
Q2?
Of quarters.
Got it. What's the working capital number for Q2, but?
So working capital number total, if you look at it from a days point of view, it will be about 300 odd days of the sales. I would say that's a number that we are seeing on the working capital side, which we believe that should compress significantly by the year end.
Can it come back to 200? Because that was your target by Q4 FY24.
Yeah, so we are looking at around that number. I would guide it 220 plus or minus 20 is what I would say, but 220 is what my target is, or a little less than that. So I continue to have that view.
All right, that is on the working capital target. Can you just take us through the split between pharma and agro currently, and what is the plan for the pharma business as well?
Yeah, so pharma today contributes around about 4%, which used to be 2% last year, and we believe that significant growth will come from pharma and fluorination. So pharma should get into a significant number by the year end. And if you look at it from 3 to 5 years horizon, I think pharma should contribute on about 20% of our revenue is what we will be looking at.
Thank you very much for joining in. That's Anupam Rasayan for you. We'll slip into a very short break. We'll come back with more on the markets. We'll talk about Honasa Consumer too, the new kid on the block.